being, and we're live. It's the local support kickoff retro thingy that we do on Thursdays. So we just, the previous scrum ran over it a little bit, and Lokesh actually brought up a very important question there. I don't know if you want to share your screen again, Lokesh, to show the issue that when you've been running the system. Oh, hi, Elena. Good to see you. We're just looking at an issue that Lokesh was having. It's sort of an important issue for the local support project, because it sort of affects a lot of. I think it's definitely kind of confusing for initial developers. I guess what I'll just show you, Lokesh, is how I deal with it. Maybe we need to find a better solution. But so, for example, I've just been doing some stuff here on a branch of Marrow Ends, and I think I have. This is the same issue, right? This is the same sort of files there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Stella. We're just showing Lokesh about these files in the features request cache. So they're definitely, it's like annoying and inconvenient to have all these files. What they are is that they are cache files that from the tests, that the tests are, all of the network interactions for the tests are being cached in these files. Now, if you run a perfectly green test suite, then usually it shouldn't generate any new network interactions. But sometimes it does, particularly if tests fail, then and odd things happen, then there's like new network interactions get, stored. But most of the time we don't need them. And the sequence of things to do to get rid of them, like if I was getting ready to like submit here, I would just delete the request cache here, like so, remove -RF. And then the other one, I've got the other one as well. Yeah, VCR cassettes, like this.
I cannot see your screen.
You cannot see my screen. Oh dear, what a pain. I can trust that you could see my screen in the previous Hangout.
Yeah, now it's working. Yeah, I was able to see.
Okay, yeah. So now, having got rid of all those things, actually there, of course, that gets rid of too much. What we have to do next is we need to do git checkout of the two same things. So basically, the git checkout like this gives us the kind of current state of what's in the Git repo of all the caches of all of the network interactions, and that takes us back to this state where you can do like so. Basically, this operation, these commands here are the critical ones. I guess it's the purpose of all this is that it stops the tests depending upon remote third-party services that might change and might cause the test to fail. But maybe it's more trouble than it's worth. I don't know. I put that code in the local support. Hopefully that should be a short-term fix for your problem, but it's definitely something that we might need to look at longer term. So, sorry, that was a issue that Lokesh brought up in the previous thing. Does that basically answer your question, Lokesh?
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Okay, well, here we are with the local support kickoff. Yay! So, I guess it's been a while. I was away last week. I guess what's the best way to do this? I think we've been making some progress. Let's have a look at the local support. Oh, that's website 1. Oh, where's it gone? There we go. I guess what we should do, we've managed to get some things merged in. I guess the thing to do maybe should be just to take a list of things that are important for people that they need to get resolved. So, Lokesh, did you have any other questions or issues or things that are blocking you in local support specifically?
There was an issue which I was working on, and it was about refactoring two very similar methods,
right,
on different controller.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Yeah, and that's the one that Elena was commenting on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, well, that's definitely something we can discuss. Let's not dive into it. We'll just put that there as a thing that we're going to cover in a minute.
Okay.
Michael, I guess you don't have any local support issues or business?
Just not really. I guess just kind of knowing what's
going on
is going on.
Sure.
Generally, like what the current focus is.
Sure. Great. Well, that will certainly be good if that comes out of Zoom. Olena, how are things going with you? Anything on your mind?
Actually, there are a few things on my mind.
Mm.
First, as it was previously we discussed, my pull request was divided into two parts. I submitted one, and now I'm starting working on the next one because it was pretty busy weeks last two for me, and I hope I will start doing on the weekend and proceed further. So basically, I was interested to clarify how exactly it's going to look like these pop-ups on the map. So it is centering now, and now, as far as I understand, it should also open pop-up as it was previously, and then close it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So hopefully, yeah, we can discuss that the map is centering and now how should the pop-up work. Anything else on your mind? Is that or is that's all of the things there?
That was the first part, like how does it, how should it look like? That was first part, and second part that was like ban is currently on certification, and it will be there for the end of the till the end of the month. So I'm looking for a programming partner if something is if somebody, I'm sorry, is interested. So please.
Great.
Feel yourself free to contact me. I would be very happy to pair a program together.
Wonderful, wonderful, excellent, great. So we'll come back around to those. Now, Stella, is there anything that's blocking you, or particular things you want to work out today?
So far, I have nothing blocking me.
Mm-hmm.
And Sibu and Sias couldn't make it to their hangout today. They were attending the Ruby conference. They sent their apologies.
No problem.
But so far, I don't have any blockage.
Right. Okay. But I guess what we should be doing is merging in the events feature. So we should look at that. And I guess issues for me is I've got work related to Marrow-End pull request. And I mean, I guess Michael's question there is about project direction. So I guess just on that note, I've kind of reduced how often I'm meeting the client, but I don't know. That's you know, we're still talking about moving it forward. The client seems very pleased that the reach skills is now included. This was from Zmago's pull request. So that's now we have these yellow dots in here, and so we start to actually offer something that you don't get anywhere else. Like if you want to see an aggregation now of volunteer opportunities in Harrow, you can see an aggregated view here that's sort of specific to Harrow. The client, I think, is still the long-term vision is to see more volunteer opportunities aggregated from more sources. At the moment, we still don't have, like there's other groups. We don't actually have an agreement with any other groups yet, but I guess something I need to push on. In the meantime, there's this ability to not just aggregate the volunteer opportunities into this location, but make it so that if you created a volunteer opportunity here, that you could then push that out into those other networks. And if you could do that, then in principle for volunteering in Harrow, this could be your one-stop shop where you could both see all of the volunteering opportunities and you could distribute your one volunteering opportunity to all of the relevant, different possible volunteering networks that are, national, international, what have you. So I think that's the, direction, if that makes sense. If we go back in this order, Marouan's PR, he's got this PR which is for submitting volunteer opportunities to the Do It directory. So which we've now worked out we've fixed various issues relating to, gosh, what are they called? Environment variables and so on. But he's stuck on a error that he doesn't understand. So I need to give him some support. I've been encouraging him to try and join scrums and meetings if he can. But I don't know that we need to spend any time on that. Probably, again, going backwards this way, what we do have is we have these pull requests that have been outstanding for a while, the events thing. I think, and we're all agreed now that so Stella, we can close this pull request, can't we? And we can merge in raise one, yeah, and that will all be okay.
Yeah, we agreed on that.
Yes, great. And so we won't lose any of your work. All of your commits are going to be in his pull request, and they'll come in, yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, and I guess the key thing to check is just the understanding there of, so that the reason that we didn't merge this event feature is that it didn't have a feature flag, because the events, we're kind of doing the events system in pieces, and like this branch had like the first two pieces, but if we merge them into develop, and we didn't have a feature flag to like not display it, it meant if we wanted to roll something else out, we'd end up pushing the partially unfinished thing into production. Does that all make sense, right? I'm hoping that makes sense. So anyway, we'll come back in any future work. Feel free to ask if you think, if you're worried about whether we need feature flags. We don't always need them, but they're good. The other one was about the use of the branches, and so what I'll do, I'll go ahead and I'll close this one now. Thanks so much for all of your work on that one, Stella. If we come back up here,
okay.
We'll close that one now, because you paired a bit with Ray, or Rehan, as he's also got there, so we can see all of your work still in there as well. And now what he's done as well is also he's done this important thing, which is about the branch naming that I've been working on with Lockish this week. And so it's important to name the branch with the number of the feature, and then the name of the issue. And then whenever we start on a new feature, we need a new branch name, and then that's going to have it be a new pull request. And that's to try and keep each of the individual pull requests as small as we can. Yeah.
Okay.
Does it make sense why we do that?
Yeah.
Great. And so that's also feature branches. So
and how do we create the feature flag?
The feature flag. So the feature flag, and we've got a database table for the feature flag. I think we've got details of contributing. Maybe I just add them recently. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, yes. So we've got this section here on adding a migration, and then putting it in the DB seeds. Yeah, so I've kind of, I think we might have decided that actually that we put the entire everything in DB seeds. Anyway, this is certainly one way of doing it. There's a debate about whether we should be using the migration or the DB seeds, but maybe we need to look at that on a different occasion. I have some look at local support. What have we've gone backwards and forwards on this. Yeah, so I think, so you might be able to help me out here by updating this documentation. I think this is the thing that we've worked out that we should do is, yeah, both the features should be created and activated or not in the in the seeds. So yeah, let me I'll put that link in there. But we've got, and if someone's got a free typing hand, I think that's quite important that we update this documentation. I'll just put that in the Slack. This needs to be updated to say put all in seeds, not in migration. I think we worked out there's actually some, you can kind of, so anyway, yeah. But please don't hesitate to ask if you're, for more details on those.
Okay.
And Lokesh and Elena, are you comfortable with the idea of feature flags?
I think it's a good idea. Why not?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. So what I'll do here, there's a great article by Martin Fowler. He also calls them feature toggles. There's a couple of things. So that if you're interested, it basically they're about allowing you to turn off the functionality in part of your site. Partly maybe because it's not ready to go into production, but you kind of want to, work on it in progress and then test bits of it and put it all on. So that's all good background reading for you. Put that all into the Slack there. Okay, so what we could then do is that, in principle, yeah, this can all get merged in, and we could actually maybe just see here that it's behind the feature toggle. So if we search in here for this, is to see how so this is exactly how the feature toggle works. Is we've got now here, we can ask the question, is the events feature active? And then we'll only display the events kind of navigation element if the feature is active. And that means we can bring all of the bits of code in, but we don't have to show it to the end users yet. And almost with we can navigate to it directly. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. If not, please do ask me more in different context. So yeah, well, let's get that, because it's been a while and it's been sticking there. Let's get that squashed and merged in. Woo! The champagne. Great work on that, Stella and Ray. Thanks so much. And also to Sigu for input on it and so on. And that brings us, I think, down to a much more manageable number of pull requests. Yay! So we'll look forward to getting the events feature out at some point in the not too distant future. So then we go on. So Elena, yeah, looking for a pair programming partner. That's great. We'll certainly try and hook you up if we can. Yeah. So we've got the work. Have we got it? At the moment, I guess the change that you've got is on develop.
Yes.
Here.
If to speak about changes, currently it just map sending. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's on develop, but we haven't rolled that out to production yet, as we've agreed. It's sort of, it might be just a bit confusing, particularly because some of them are close together. So what we've talked about are two other things. The one originally was the idea that as we mouse over, that it would pop up the individual elements, and then, and I think you had a version working of that, but for some reason, because of the complexity of popping it up, it then couldn't be closed. That was the problem with it, wasn't it?
Actually, that was quite complicated because that pull request it consisted of a lot of parts, like changes to the model, changes to the JavaScript, and also there was a lot of these cache files which not be committed, and we decided to split it. So currently it's moving, it's centering, and my question is actually currently how exactly this pop-up should look like. Like it is currently when we click on that icon, any icon, or should it look like somehow different?
Right. So that's one question, which I guess maybe we need to take to the clients. I guess to make this more understandable, particularly to Lokesh, who hasn't maybe seen this before. is where the idea for this comes from is,
Google Maps, yes.
yeah, it's from Google Maps, and they have with their full width map here, as we mouse over the individual items, you can see that we start off just with these little red dots here, and you can see that when you mouse over them, you get a pop-up. They have a kind of a little this pin thing appears in the you know, over the one that you're mousing over, so you kind of get a sense of connection between this is the list and where it is over here. So I guess we've got there's different ways to go, isn't there? I mean, and there's different things. There's what the client might prefer, you know, and I think she's, you know, she's not too bothered. I mean, she'll certainly give us her opinion on different alternatives. The other question for us is about what's easy to implement. So is someone seems to be making quite a lot of noise in the background. I guess I'll just mute Elena and Lokesh. Do mute and unmute yourself as appropriate. So yeah, I mean, I would say, Elena, that you feel free to experiment probably with what's easy to do. Maybe it would be easier to make it so that the, you know, just one of the icons increased in size, or, you know, added a dot or something. You know, I think it probably being an easy change that we can, you know, involves not too many changes in places is probably at least something to experiment with. We kind of want to show the clients some alternatives, maybe.
I think actually I don't know, because I had a couple of ideas in mind how can it be implemented, that idea about opening the whole pop-up within. So implemented, I think, both ways. It just, because of this I'm asking, because I can do this, the one thing, and I can do a different thing. Currently, I think it depends just on JavaScript, and it does not depend on anything else, because changes to the Ruby code I made during our first pull request, which allows now to open this JavaScript.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I can. I should be seeing the client next Friday, and I can certainly ask for one or the other. But I think it. I mean, there's. Go on, Michael. Do you have a suggestion?
I remember this coming up in the last meeting or the meeting before that, and I guess it's still kind of where it was at then. Well,
the difference that it's at is that, like, previously we had that, and we had a big kind of monster pull request that contained both the centering of the map on the thing that you mouse over and the pop-up. So now that centering stuff is done, and that works. And then so now it's like, right, we could, and then it sounds like Elena thinks that the pop-up now maybe might be easier to work. You know, I mean, it's interesting because the Google, they've obviously gone with, you know, when you mouse over here, you get the pop-up, and you know, but when you mouse over here, you get just that pin. And you know, in some ways, you know, maybe following what Google does. Even if it, I mean, we might make an argument to say, oh, it's more user. Why have that? People might not notice that pin there. It'd be better to have the pop-up. But you know, so many more people are using Google Maps than they're using our site. You know, following the Google standard, you know, might make more sense. I can argue both ways. What I would say, though, actually, Elena, is the two things is maybe even more important than whether the pop-up pops up or not, is that at the moment, when we do the mouse over, there's no change to the element here, which you see how when I mouse over the individual item on the left here, it changes color.
It gets that light gray.
The color of gray changes.
That's a simple thing to do. And
go on, Elena.
That's, I think, just to add to the CSS mouse hover and
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that would be, in terms of making the mouse over, sorry, the centering, I think coherent, that would be really valuable. The other thing that I notice is that for some reason, can you see how the point here at the top of the thing, it doesn't quite match the point of the element. Do you know what I mean? So that when if you've got two of them side by side, you might be kind of a bit confused about which one is which. So
yeah, that's a thing that we used to have, and I fixed it. I guess it's come back again.
yeah. So now and so I think, Olena, it's you'll totally work on the thing that you're most interested in working on. I think in order to roll this out as a kind of a package and get sensible input from the user, from the clients, is we probably want to get that mouse. I would say get the background changing as we go up and down in the list, and fix this as well. So anyway, if that makes sense.
So you're saying maybe the thing to do is just to have the icon pop out.
Well, I think we've got two options. There's one is like, as we go around here, the icon itself could pop out, but it almost seems to me like, why not just have it pop up with that information as you go over? And particularly if Elena thinks that's easy to do now. But I guess have we got a ticket on this that needs voting? I guess should we be making sure that all these different things we're discussing are going into tickets?
So that may be if you're trying to center it, it's kind of touchy from what I remember.
Well, the centering is working now.
No. I mean the centering of that pop out,
right,
with relation to the icon
to the pin, yeah,
is difficult, because I remember getting in there with a JavaScript debugger, and like the things that were coming out were like pixel settings in that little thing.
Yep.
Like that, I forget what it's called. It's like a canvas. Sure. It's called a canvas, I think. And it's like really hard to it's like not at the right level of abstraction.
Okay. So maybe we can quickly get, and also we would like hover on elements in list to give gray background. This box. Yeah. So maybe we could just quickly vote on these things. So the one that Michael's just describing there, obviously Michael's had experience with that.
But we now don't even use Gmap for Rails, right? Am I correct?
No, I think that's been removed now.
Okay, so now we're using just the Google API as we get it from Google. Okay.
So let's just try and have a quick vote on that. We've got our new voters got, if you have got no opinion, you can have no opinion. So simple, medium, or hard. So the issue in question here is that bug we're just looking at, which is that the pop-up is not aligned there. It's the thing that Michael described as having been kind of quite complicated in the JavaScript debugger in the past. Does anybody have any questions about this thing to vote on? It looks like everybody's voted except me. No. Okay, I'm going to vote, and then let's reveal the votes. And okay, so we are split evenly between medium and hard.
I know Elena didn't vote.
I'm sorry, and Elena didn't.
I can vote. Actually, I was planning to vote for hard for medium, to be honest. But as far as I worked with Google Maps previously, but I don't know. I have no experience with just aligning. I'm working with pop-ups, what can we put, how it's center map, and all this stuff. But actually, with aligning, I have no experience previously to do something.
No, sure. Do you want to be the tiebreaker for us, Elena, and just say whether you think we should have it as hard or medium?
I think I'm always afraid to state that something is very hard and then to find out, oh, that was so easy. So I stick to medium.
Okay.
If it will be hard, I will tell you.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to say, you know, well, let's maybe go for medium. Why? Usually for me, I'm saying, you know, let's estimate it as hard and then go for that way around. But no, let's do it that way around, and you can tell us, Elena, if it turns out to be much harder than expected. So then we've got this other one here, which is about having the element, you know, that you're on the list hover. Apologies for not letting you vote that time, Elena. My mistake. So this is like have list hover go grey. We'll do a vote on that one. Does anyone have any questions about
My vote.
This one?
Yes.
This is the one that we were just talking about, where we think it should just be involve a CSS change to change the color for on hover. There we go. Excellent. Ooh, there we go. So Lokesh and Stella, you've both said medium. Well, why are you thinking it's going to be harder than simple?
Well, I think because you need to first understand how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the difficult part, how it works. Rest, I think adding the CSS is easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should just be a single change in this file. It's one of those ones where, will we even need a test for it? What were you thinking, Stella?
I voted medium because I really don't like CSS so much. So before I get into CSS, I have to like take my time. That's why I voted medium. Right.
No, fair enough. Elena and Michael, what do you think? Should we go with the medium based on the dislike of CSS?
No.
No, Michael's sticking to his guns. Elena, what do you think?
I think why it is simple. Because basically, it can be solved in two cases. First case, we can just put into CSS this special hover description of element. Like, for example, when on hover you have background element, background color of the element is changed. Or basically, if another variant, you can do this with JavaScript, and that's even overcomplicated, I believe, because you can just, when mouse enter a certain element, you just can add some class, CSS class to it, and then when mouse leaves, you just remove this class. So in both cases, you change one file, and in both cases, that's pretty small amount of code to add.
Yeah, well, I think particularly if Michael is sticking to his guns there, let's put that in as a simple, and then we can see how we go. You know, Stella and Lokesh, if they did look at that one, might want to ask for help on it. Let's put those into our backlog, because I'd love to get all of this stuff out. So we've voted on those. Do we already have a ticket corresponding to popping up the elements?
Actually, that was one ticket I'm currently working in. That's about.
Okay, right. And so that ticket's still open, and that covers. Now, which ticket is that? Here we go. Yeah, that's this 3-pointer integrating the list with the map. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so then we come on to. I'm sort of running out of time. There was this question around refactoring different methods on different controllers. I guess the thing that I'd say generally about the refactoring, but by the way, in case Elena said, I don't know if you met Lokesh before. Lokesh is doing an internship with us for 2 months. He's doing his CS degree, and he's been doing some work on local support and website 1, and it's great to have his pull requests coming in, and he's focusing on doing refactoring things for the minute. The thing we want to be a little bit careful with refactoring is that we have to be careful to make sure that the refactoring serves the needs of the higher level project. So I wonder if I can just find the ticket that was in question there. So, and now this ticket, oh gosh, oh, here we go, is now, I guess, Olena, you created the ticket originally, is that right?
Yes. I was reported to you that issue, and you recommended to create a ticket, so that
yeah.
I formulated it slightly.
Yeah, no, great. And this issue, this was it flagged by Code Climate, or it was just you noticed it yourself?
Actually, I noticed it on my own because, actually, that was one more issue I wanted to discuss with you previously, but I forgot. Because sometimes when you create a pull request, and there are those checks like climate checks, then build when during the build of project the code is checked if everything is all right, and the last check is test coverage. And during my first pull request, there was issue with test coverage, and I was when I looked through files which required more test coverage, actually that was about respect. So users controller and if I'm not mistaken, this
registration control.
Yes. Both of those controllers were like among those which were not covered enough. So I started writing tests for users controller, and then I just moved to another controller and found out that actually this code is quite similar. Maybe one method is not so similar, but the second like is duplicating.
Yeah, excellent summary. Thank you, Olena. So I think that you're right that there might be room for refactoring here. My heuristic is that just seeing something replicated in 2 places is not normally enough for me. I would often wait till I started to see it in 3 places, and even then I'd have the question of is this refactoring going to be helpful for the kinds of features that we want to be delivering going forward? Because every time we refactor something, we are introducing a dependency. And so, it might be the case that these 2 things, these methods that are similar, actually, depending upon the feature requests that come in, it might be that they need to change and be differently dependent. Do you know what I mean? They might need to differ more. But it might be that actually they never will, and they're actually going to be the exact same code is going to be used in more and more places. So there's kind of this, and there's no right or wrong answer, because it's all about guessing, how the pressures from the request from the client are going to affect how we evolve the future the code going forward, right?
Yes.
So I think my intuition here. Well, I guess before I go on to that, you were then. So Lokesh was saying like maybe pull this up into the application controller, and Olena, you were saying like, oh well, it's only being used in these 2 places. Maybe we should pull that out into a job or a service or a lib file or what have you, which we could do. I think both approaches are possible. It sort of depends. In some ways, the process of refactoring, within the controllers themselves, I would often say that, if we take.
So can I see that again?
Oh, you want to see the
code that's being highlighted? I think they differ slightly, right?
They do differ slightly. I did post the link to the ticket into the local support Slack chat, so you could click on that and look at the code at your leisure rather than looking at it through my screen. If you want to do that in the background, I was just going to take us into am I in local support? Is use control, registration controller? But so there's this process of refactoring controllers where we might start to take things out of individual methods and then put them into protected or put them into private, and then we might hoist them up to the application controller is sort of a simple thing, and we've done that with certain things. Like not every controller is using these necessarily, And then there's the process of like pulling stuff out into services and jobs. And the question there is sort of like, you know, is this something that's going to be used independently of controllers? And yeah, my intuition is with this one, I don't know that it's an urgent refactoring. And I would kind of maybe say perhaps we should focus on things that are more obvious wins, but I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, of course. It's not like that's urgent. I reported it, and then it actually, I think this issue can live a little, and later it will be more, after certain iterations, it will be more understandable. Do we factor it at all or not?
Yes, it would certainly be. I'm just sort of indent in, yeah, so we can see the differences there. Yeah. So it's update. I mean, what this. See, it's the kind of thing that that we could pull out into services, and
I mean, you could just pull it. Just pull it into the only thing that differs is the org, right?
Right, it's the way of finding the org. Yeah.
So you could just pull the rest of it into the application controller.
Right, and then
as a private method or whatever.
Yeah.
And call it with the org.
Yeah, or you could have one of these, as we seem to end up doing a lot with these before filters, where we set org based on something. Yeah.
I don't like that approach, setting the org based on a filter. Yeah. It's kind of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I think, you know, there are lots of different options there. We can like leave that to mull over. I think that it's already been voted on. It's, you know, if somebody wants to work on that, if they're excited about doing a certain way, or they think they can see a win of doing it in a particular way, I think, you know, that's great for them. Probably we should wrap up now. Does anybody want to be assigned to some of the tickets that we voted on, or any of the other ones that are not? Go back to here. Here we go. So in terms of this, the pop-up not aligning, Michael and Elena, would you be interested in pairing on this one, maybe?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's pop, I think that's the right Michael in there, and Elena, we'll pop you on there. And then the hovering element one, is anybody?
I think I will, when I will doing this issue, actually when I will proceed to this pop-up elements and start working with them, I can add this feature. It's not a big
Great.
So.
Wonderful, excellent. So, and then it's unfortunately, I guess we lost Stella now. I don't know if she wants to do something, pick up another events thing now, but I'll speak to her separately. Lokesh, did you want to take ownership of anything? Are you happy about how we're doing things going forward?
Yeah, I'm happy. But if you have something in mind, then you can tell me.
Just thinking. I guess, yeah. I think when you're ready, you know, it would be, you know, great to take on a bug fix. You know, I guess maybe can we just have a quick? We've got this. I guess this is one from me. I was noticing in the site, so we've swapped it around now, that when we've got the situation, so the volunteers is by default when we load there, but if we click on the like the home thing, maybe it's not failing in the way that I expected. No, we'll just get rid of that. Yeah, it would be great to find you a bug to work on when you're ready. I thought that we had it, so if we go to home, or I think there's a thing like if we click on volunteers, yeah, so if we end up at volunteer ops now, it sort of tells us that we're not home. Did everybody sort of see that? Like we've got this, you know, home thing here, which is sort of the same as volunteers, and now if we explicitly go to volunteers, we lose the home, and it's kind of a bit a bit fun. Maybe it's kind of trivial, but do people understand the problem that I'm describing there?
I think so. Yeah. I think you're saying that when you click on the home, it doesn't go to volunteers, or the volunteers stays marked.
Well, what I'm saying is right, and because the volunteers is home, like the home page of the site is the list of volunteers, and it used to be that volunteers was a separate tab, separate kind of entity, and we would go there. And so we've got it set up now. We've kind of like hacked it so that the volunteers tab is activated here when you're on the home page. But then we've got this weird thing of like you click volunteers and you've gone to the same page here, but you know, we're kind of
no longer on home.
Right. And that seems to be like that sends a kind of a mixed message about like what's the difference between these two things. Actually, there's no difference. You know, maybe the volunteers here thing actually, maybe the fix here is just that volunteers, rather than linking to this volunteer ops, should just link to the home, and then there wouldn't be any consistency.
Probably, yeah. That probably makes the most sense.
Yeah. So that's I've just described a potential solution for this. I want to do a quick vote on this thing, and then maybe we possibly that would be. Don't feel you have to do it, Lokesh, but that would be then a possible thing for you to start looking at moving beyond refactoring and onto actual bug fixing. So that's home/volunteer inconsistency there. Any questions about this?
So Sam, why aren't we just removing the volunteer tab if it's doing the same thing as home?
That's a good question. Maybe that's a better solution, is that, you know, we don't have, you know, if home is going to be, this is the home page, maybe sensibly we remove the volunteers thing. Absolutely.
I was wondering that, but then I guess you're kind of not emphasizing anymore that there's volunteer opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's also an argument for changing the title here for this. I mean, I guess what I would say is that it might sort of seem silly, Lokesh, but in the first instance, if we just make it consistent, and then a bigger question about, you know, that there's then changing what's being shown, we can kind of take to the client, and rather than that being a bug, that becomes like a feature enhancement. Like, I think one of the things, ongoing requests from the client is that we emphasize the volunteering, and so, but maybe that means that we change the tagline here. You know, like to say, you know, search for volunteer opportunities with local whatever. So, yeah, does that make sense, Lokesh?
So basically, the fix you're suggesting is that when we click the volunteers, we should go to the same page, but home shouldn't be highlighted, right?
Well, no. What I'm saying here is that at the moment, you know, when people land on the home page, home and volunteers are both highlighted, which is kind of indicating that, you know, on the home page you're seeing volunteers. We have here, you can see the link here, the volunteers tab element, rather than just going to the slash, it goes to volunteer ops. And we have this, you know, legacy thing. When we get here, the home is not highlighted. So people might think, oh, I've gone here, I've gone somewhere else, I want to go back to the home, but actually, no, they're in the same place. And
okay, so both should be highlighted.
Well, I think to be consistent, both should be highlighted. Okay. And the simple change that we can do is just go into the view and change it so that this, instead of volunteer, just goes to slash, right? And then we could get that. Get that out. And then I think the point that you make about, maybe we should remove the volunteers, or there's a whole, you know, wording changes potentially on the site, and then we can do that as a separate feature request, and we can get input from the client.
So, do you want to vote, Lokesh? If you understand everything.
Yeah.
All right. So that's done. We're agreed it's simple. Excellent. that's done. And shall I assign you to this one, Lokesh?
Yeah, I'll be happy to do it.
Great, excellent. All right, I think we are done. Great to see you all. So next week we'll be doing this design sprint that I was telling Lokesh about. So I'm not going to be available to run the meeting, but people who are available can certainly go ahead and start the meeting if they want to. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Great to see you all. Bye for now.
But
Bye.